Okay, so you want to click on New. Make sure that you select Metric and then Standard MM. Then click on Create. You next want to select a 2D sketch, like there, and you want to select one of these work planes. Okay, we want to select this bottom one here. Next, take your rectangle, click on the drop down menu and click 2-point rectangle. You can now come down, click on the center point there just once and then move your cursor. You can see the 2 dimensions here. If you tap in 60 for the first one and then press Tab, which is 2 buttons down from Escape in the top left of your keypad, okay, you'll then go to the next dimension and you can put 43 in for that one. Okay, press Enter. Now we're so zoomed in that we can't see our square. So if you click on the Zoom All button here, that will then bring everything into focus. Okay, you can now click on Finish Sketch and we go back to 3D mode. Zoom All again so you can see it all. Click on Extrude, and your extrude may not have a drop down menu here. You need to make sure you drop that menu down, okay, so you can work on it here rather than over here. It's a bit easier. Change that to 20 millimeters, okay, and then press OK. Okay, next we want to put a 2D sketch onto the side. That's the long, thin one, okay, not this side or this side, this one here. Put a sketch there. You next want to project the geometry, okay, and this transfers lines from other places onto our sketch. So we're back in the 2D mode here, and we want to project geometry of that line, and that line there. Okay, you can zoom out a little bit. Use your line tool next and click on this bottom right hand corner. Click there and you can see here you can change the dimension. So you just click once, don't click and drag. And then if you make sure that it's horizontal, you'll see that the degrees is 0. Make sure it's there on 0 and then you can just click 10 or enter 10 and then press enter. Okay, you can now see we're going up, so then make sure you're vertical so that you can see 90 degrees here, and then tap in 140 and press enter. Okay, you can't see the top of a line, so we're just going to click zoom all so we can see it. Make sure you're horizontal again and going towards the left and press 20, enter. Then come all the way down until you get down to the bottom area there. It should be 120 automatically. Okay, make sure if your line is straight where it hits the top of that line. Now your line tool is finished there. You'll need to click once again onto the end there, and then click once again and click on the end there. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to put in our housing joint, or an area for our housing joint. So I want you to select 2-point rectangle. I want you to lock onto this line here, click once and let go, and then just draw a square roughly something like that. You're going to use the dimension tool this time. You can either dimension your the height of this square by just clicking on this line and coming out and clicking 20, but that's not the best way to do it, so I'm just going to use my back button to show you how to do it. The best way to do the height is actually to click between the 2 lengths of the line. So if you click on dimension, you click on the top part and the bottom part of that line, then that dimensions it easily. So click on the top, thinks you're doing that top line, then click on the bottom of the line, okay, and then come across to the left there, okay. Click there and then you can just put down 20 like that, and that changes that dimension. You also want this area to be 10 millimeters wide, so instead of just clicking on there and bring it down, I'm going to click on that line, thinks I'm doing that 20 line, until I click on the edge here, and that is then between those 2 areas. Click once again and then you can click 10. And that's now changed to 10. The last dimension we want to do is between the top and the bottom, and this is why I teach you this technique, because you can't select just that line there between there and there. You have to click between the top area, thinks you're doing the width, until you click on that line, and then there. If you bring that out to the side, you can now change that to 40. Now we want to get rid of this little area here, so you're going to use the trim tool. Click on trim, come and click once, that's got rid of the first line that we drew for this rectangle, then click again and that's got rid of this line that we drew for the whole thing. Okay, and that's now gone. Finish your sketch, zoom all so we can see it all, come to extrude. You didn't need to select it. If it doesn't select it, you just press that button there and it should select it. It's going the wrong direction, so I'm going to click on this button here to change the direction. Then I'm going to change the dimension to 43. Okay. The last thing I want you to do is click on New Solid. New solid means that it is making it a different material, so two separate bits of wood. Okay, then you can click OK. Okay, so lastly we need to do our last piece of shell, so we're going to put a new sketch, new 2D sketch. Make sure you always click on 2D rather than 3D. So 2D sketch, click on the side here, zoom into this area here and project geometry of this line, and this line. That is bringing it forward onto our sketch. Then use a 2-point rectangle, lock onto the top area there. If you bring down, it locks on straight onto 20 because we projected geometry. Then you can just tap in 60. Once 60 is tapped in, you can just finish your sketch, extrude, select that area. It's going the wrong direction, so click that area there, make sure it's 43, and then you can just tap on new solid to make sure it's a separate piece of material. Okay, click OK. Now if you're really good at this, you'll come up to the top and you'll just change the view, go to visual style, and you'll change it to shaded with edges, and now you can see those different joints that you've done there. Click back on 3D model and you've finished.